The inside story on the issues that affect you and your community. This is Local 12 Newsmakers.
The arts have the power to break out almost anywhere and draw almost anybody into the process, and then create community. Good morning and welcome to Local 12 Newsmakers. It all began with a $1 million gift back in 1927 from Charles P. and Anna Sinton Taft, which was soon matched by another $2.5 million by other Cincinnatians to establish the Cincinnati Institute for the Fine Arts. The Institute's mission was to further the musical and artistic education and culture for the people of Cincinnati. In 1949, the Institute established the annual Fine Arts Fund to support the Cincinnati Art Museum, the Cincinnati Symphony Orchestra, the opera, and of course the Taft Museum. In 1978, the fund expanded to support the ballet, the Contemporary Arts Center, the Playhouse in the Park, and the May Festival. And in the 1990s, support for smaller arts organizations also were included. Over the past few years, the leadership of the Fine Arts Fund worked again to evolve the organization's mission and in the process sharpened the focus and changed the name to ArtsWave, creating community through the arts. I am joined this morning by two key people in the city's vibrant arts community. Mary McCulough-Hudson is the president and CEO of ArtsWave. She has been with the organization for 14 years and headed the annual United Arts campaign for 10 years. Under her leadership, the drive has grown from $2.5 million to $11 million each year, while also creating a variety of services like business volunteers for the arts and the visual arts incubator to broaden involvement of the arts for all people and all levels. And Trey Devey, the president of the Cincinnati Symphony Orchestra and the executive director of the Cincinnati May Festival. Mr. Devey assumed his positions in January 2009 after heading the Syracuse Symphony Orchestra, the Alabama Symphony Orchestra, and the Florida Philharmonic. Welcome to Newsmakers. Mary, welcome back.
Thank you.
Okay, let's get right to this. What is the basic shift in view? I mean, there's the change in name, but underneath that, what's the fundamental shift? What are you trying to get at?
Really, the fundamental shift is to engage a lot more people and to share the benefits of our extraordinary arts community with as many people in our region as possible. We've really been on an interesting journey for the past 3 or 4 years to better understand how the people in this community value the arts. The good news is they value them greatly, but the two things that really came up over and over in our conversations, and we've had hundreds of conversations with people throughout the community, and that is they really appreciate the role the arts play in creating vibrant communities, exciting neighborhoods. What we know what the arts do for our downtown, and this is happening in communities and town squares throughout the region. There's the color, the excitement, the energy that the arts bring to their communities. The other thing that we heard really throughout the conversation is the role that the arts play to connect people, that the arts bring us together to share meaningful experiences and help us understand each other better as a community. And so what we have taken that learning and in collaboration with our arts partners is to really refocus our energy on providing those benefits and reaching out to as many people in our community to really expand that. And the name, which is the most obvious change, we believe helps project that idea of those ripple effect of benefits that really reach all areas of our region.
Trey, you are new to this community, but you've been in a lot of other communities as well. And now you had two of the fundamental building blocks of the arts in this community, the May Festival, which is really, people probably think the Symphony is the beginning, but it's really the May Festival and then the Symphony. So coming to Cincinnati from other places, how do you see an organization like ArtsWave? How does the position of the arts here in Cincinnati, How does it look from somebody who comes from other perspectives?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. I would say there are two really big things that the ArtsWave does in benefiting the community. One is most obvious. The financial support really enables the May Festival, the Symphony, and all of the beneficiaries of their work and the community's generosity to be at a level that is truly exceptional. And we could not be the orchestra that we are without the support of the community through ArtsWave. So I think that's key. The other thing is that Mary, the ArtsWave, and her team really brings together the cultural community. And this is something that I have not experienced in any of the other communities that I've been involved with, from Pittsburgh to New York, South Florida, Alabama, you name it. There is a spirit of cooperation and collaboration that is truly exceptional. And this is an incredible value because there is a sector view of arts and culture in Cincinnati that really doesn't exist in a lot of other places, as best I can tell.
You know, one of the key questions, and Trey raised this, I mean, a fundamental service that the ArtsWave has been providing for a long, long time, decades, is to operate that Fine Arts Fund every year. What happens to the fund? Will that still be there? Will it still be called the Fine Arts Fund? Where's that?
Absolutely. We are, the campaign, the community campaign is being rebranded under the ArtsWave name. We believe that will, and we've already heard great enthusiasm from a lot of our partners in the community, companies who run employee campaigns, our volunteers who reach their neighbors and friends and communities, that they think that this will open up new opportunities to bring people in who may have found the Fine Arts Fund name somehow limiting in their association with all that it represents. So it will be the ArtsWave campaign. Our goal this year is obviously to, it's the old Girl Scout song of make new friends and keep the old ones. So it really is an expansion. And this is what, you know, one of the things that, you know, Trey and his colleagues, and we need to say that this is not about a change so much as it is an expansion. You know, we need to take the extraordinary work that this orchestra does and bring it to as many people as we possibly can in the community, as well as partner with other arts organizations, community-based art centers, all of the activity that's happening around the region. And it's really only the work through this campaign that is really and you talk about unique to Cincinnati, this idea of a community campaign that is really of the people, by the people, for the people. This is a broad-based, really grassroots effort. People sometimes don't realize that our most common gift is $75. This is a campaign that's made up of lots and lots and lots of people wanting to do a little something. And so that will continue. You will see that happening again after the first of the year.
One of the things I want to be clear about is, I mean, as important and critical as that campaign is, for an organization like the Symphony or like the May Festival, that doesn't raise all the money you need. I mean,
No.
you still have to have a very large fundraising operation. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Well, the May Festival budget is about $2 million a year. The Symphony budget is on the order of $40 million a year. So the ArtsWave support is clearly substantial. It is the leadership gift that basically allows us to get to that level that we think that the community expects.
You know, with that fund, and the same thing with United Way, for years we've been operating this through workplaces. And I think we all know, not just with the economy at the moment because people are unemployed, and that's one thing, but the fact is our economy is changing, and people are working as consultants or in very small companies. Is the ArtsWave Fund going to have to change in order to deal with that?
Absolutely. We have to reach individuals in a variety of mechanisms through a variety of platforms. We're looking at how we use, you know, the digital technology available to us. It's really important that we have very strong workplace campaigns, that it's a fabulous tradition in this community, and they continue to support us. But you're right. I mean, even people who work for those same companies are working virtually. They're moving around all over the place. And so our need to invest and look at all the technologies available to us to reach individuals throughout this community. And we have to make that case one by one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't want to lose sight of the fact, though, that this isn't just or even primarily about money. It's about involving people in the community. And one of the first things, and I wanted to show a little bit of video, one of the first events you ran under ArtsWave was this huge project to paint the street back in October when it was announced. 1,500 people involved. Was this fun or what?
This was amazing. It was just one of the best days ever. We put out a call. We had 5 artists make a design. They gathered the community to find out what was important to them about their community. This was a half-mile of pavement right in our neighborhood, right by Music Hall.
Right by Music Hall.
And the School for Creative and Performing Arts and the Art Academy and Ensemble Theater and No Theater, that gorgeous stretch of 12th Street. And we put out a call for people to help us paint the street. And we were astounded. We had 1,500 people from throughout the region come and want to participate. And we thought this was such a visible demonstration of what arts can do to bring people together and create vibrancy. I mean, look at how lively that neighborhood now is.
Yeah. One of the things, and we just got about a minute left, but one of the things I want to make clear is that, Trey, with an organization like the Symphony, you're also trying to reach out into the community.
Oh, absolutely.
It's not just, it's not just that sort of thing.
The goals are absolutely shared, and as we talk about expanding the reach of the campaign, we're up in Mason and Westchester and in Indiana and Northern Kentucky, you name it, and that's key.
Well, that's great, and I want to make sure people know how to find out more. To learn more about the ArtsWave and all of its programs and opportunities to become involved in the arts, check out the website at www.theartswave.org. You have to get that "the" in there.
Absolutely.
And now we're going to stay with the arts, so stay tuned. After the break, we stay with the world of the arts. I will be joined by John Morris Russell, the new conductor of the Cincinnati Pops. You may never meet a more positive and enthusiastic person anyplace. So your wife was up there. What time?
Hello, Cincinnati!
Welcome back. 10 days ago, the Cincinnati Pops announced that John Morris Russell would return to Cincinnati to assume the leadership of the Cincinnati Pops Orchestra, a position made vacant by the death of Eric Kunzel over a year ago. Last weekend, following the announcement, Mr. Russell remained in Cincinnati to conduct the holiday concert with the Pops and the May Festival Chorus. As you can see, his style is enthusiastic and emphatic. I am joined this morning by John Morris Russell, who will begin his full-time responsibilities on September the 1st, 2011. Mr. Russell was the associate conductor of the Cincinnati Pops for 11 years, beginning in 1995. Currently, he's the conductor of the Windsor Symphony in Canada, and I am sure was motivated to move back to Cincinnati because of our tropical climate, where we never have snow and it never drops below freezing. Welcome back to Cincinnati.
Thank you so very, very much. It's great to be here.
Yeah, so this is, when you've been here, you know what you're returning to. It's not like, oh, this is a new orchestra that I don't really know the dynamics. They don't know me. That's a different thing to come back. And you haven't been gone that long.
Yeah, it seems like a while, but it's only been 4 years.
Right.
So, and it comes back to the point that you don't really know how great you have it until you go away for a little bit. You don't realize how special Cincinnati is and this region. And until you go away. I've had the opportunity to conduct a whole lot of orchestras across North America, and it really makes you realize how remarkable our musicians are, what a remarkable institution the Cincinnati Pops is. I mean, our players, can do a great Mahler symphony one night and then turn around and swing with the best of them. They had this great outpouring of support from all of them, and making music as we did last weekend was just such a treat. And
musicians who have been trained so that they can do that Mahler, how do they think? How do a conductor like you, the players in the symphony, how do they think about the Pops? How does the Pops play in their psyche, in their mind? Well,
it all comes down to a quote of Duke Ellington, who said, "If it sounds good, it is good." And most of the players in the orchestra are of our generation, and so they were raised on so much of the great popular music that everyone else was, and so when we perform music of the Beatles or music of the funk bands of the 1970s, I mean, this is the music of our lives, and to be able to clothe it in the great orchestral sound of the Pops is something very, very special and unique to our orchestra.
And how does this Pops Orchestra, really built by Eric Kunzel, how does this Pops Orchestra fit into the world of Pops orchestras in the United States? And I think particularly of Boston. I've had a chance to be there on the 4th of July to hear their 4th of July concert. New York. How do we fit into that world?
I'd like to think of ourselves as being the heart of America. I mean, here we are in the great Midwest, and we think about the great radio traditions that were founded in Cincinnati.
WLW.
Absolutely, and the music that emanated from the airwaves here, which spread throughout the Midwest, and it's kind of basing our music on those great traditions. And the great musicians who made their homes here. I mean, it's just like the great traditions of people like Rosemary Clooney, Bootsy Collins. This is our music. And you can even go back even further, where you think about the John Church Company, which was a publishing company right there on 4th Street, I believe. And their slogan was "Progress in American Music," and it was the first. This was the first publishing company, one of the first, to publish music of African American composers, including Nathaniel Dett. And we kind of, our city, our region, encompasses the great American musical ethos, and we want to celebrate that in our own orchestra.
One of the I think one of the real challenges or opportunities, it's the same thing really, for a Pops orchestra is to expand that audience or the audiences that the symphony orchestra is able to reach. How do you think about that? And you were just mentioning some of the popular musicians, but also this tradition of African American musicians, of these different traditions that come together in the United States. How do you think of the role of the Pops relating to the community?
So much of this really is kind of what I did here for 11 years. As the associate conductor of the Cincinnati Symphony and the Cincinnati Pops, I was in charge of all of our educational offerings, all of our family concerts, as well as our community concerts, parks concerts. And these types of programs and programming were my bread and butter. And the bottom line is you just make sure to deliver white hot, fabulous performances and get people engaged on so many different levels. And so, for our education concerts, for our family concerts, we always made sure to put out there, exceptional music making that not only would engage the kids, but engage the parents as well. And a lot of what Eric did was to bring various performers from the community on stage. I mean, everything from the cloggers to last week we had some hip-hop dancers, and really kind of captured the wealth of talent that we have right here at home. So there are lots of different ways to do this. I think probably most important is bringing everyone together. I mean, this is what music's all about.
We have some video right now rolling of Eric Kunzel. You worked with Eric for 11 years. What did you learn? What are some of the few things, the most important things you learned?
Well, one of the important things is what we were just talking about, the fact of community engagement, of being part of the city and the region, and to embrace those performers and composers, those people who are right here. And I think the other thing is a dedication to excellence in everything that you do. And that means that, I mean, like Eric would always do, you know, he'd be the first one in there in the morning for rehearsals. He'd be the last one to leave after performances. He gave his whole heart to the organization, and this is why myself and my family, we're all going to be moving back home, is because this is a full-time position, and it requires working with all sorts of people and being involved and active in the community.
Now, in the press release and the announcement the other day, you know, that a big point was made of that you're going to move here. Your family's going to move here. You're going to be based here. You're not going to take on any other co-assignment someplace else. Is that you're moving home in a sense? You lived here before, but you're not originally from Cincinnati. Is Cincinnati really home for you at this point? And was that a requirement of the job, or is that something you want to do?
Well, I was born and raised in Cleveland, so I am a native-born Ohioan.
Right. Sometimes that seems close, sometimes that seems very far away.
But in terms of my family and my career, Cincinnati really is my spiritual home. My wife and I were newlyweds when we came here. Our kids were born here. We have so many friends, okay. And so to us, this is a place we really want to be. And actually, one of the things when we were discussing the position that we really wanted was to make sure that this was enough of a position that we could jump in whole hog and be here as residents. And in fact, I mean, I think we all think that the Pops is so important, not just regionally, but worldwide in terms of our performances, recordings, new media, that we need to be here to push it forward and to find that new future for our Pops Orchestra.
What could you imagine might be the relationship between the Pops, the Symphony in general, and in summer of 2012, this coming of the World Choir Games, which is going to bring tens and tens of thousands, maybe a couple 100,000 people to our city to make music? What does that? You had a chance to think about the implications of that?
Well, there's so many great opportunities, and you know, I have not been able to get much sleep for the last month because there are so many great opportunities and so many great ideas and things that we want to pursue, and certainly the World Choir Games is one of them. I think it puts again the focus on our region about being kind of the heart of music making in the Midwest. And it also, I think, points to the importance of what music means to our society. Certainly in this era, which is, you know, has its difficulties in the economy, you know, a lot of people are questioning, you know, what's the role of the arts? Is it a frill? And especially now, it is the most important thing.
Why especially now?
Especially now, because you know, our chips are down, and we need something to bring people together and to make people feel great about going from day to day. I mean, we think about flash mobs. I mean, they're happening everywhere. You know, people singing the Hallelujah chorus or doing dances or whatever. And you say, well, why are these flash mobs such a phenomenon right now? And it's because I feel that people are yearning for that connection with one another. You know, we are so disconnected in our society because of the internet, which is a great tool, but everyone can kind of live their lives vicariously through their iPods or their computer terminals, and people are yearning for that connection with one another.
For that real human connection.
Exactly. And it's music that does that. And you know, we do this on a local level through all of our performances and our community concerts and parks concerts. But now our stage is even bigger. And to bring people together for the World Choral Olympics is another one of those opportunities where we make the world a smaller place, and we do it by working together for a common cause, and that cause is beauty.
Well, welcome back to Cincinnati. There is clearly no energy deficit, even if you haven't gotten much sleep in the last month. And we really look forward to you being back here and with your family full time and making music and being part of this community.
Absolutely.
Thank you for making this decision to come back.
Thank you.
Thank you for making Newsmakers a part of your Sunday morning. Have a great Christmas, and then join us next Sunday morning for a new tool that evaluates where Cincinnati stands in comparison to 11 other metropolitan regions, a sort of taking account as we end 2010 and look towards 2011. Have a wonderful holiday.